Hey everyone, welcome. So I want to make this video because I think nursing is probably the most common major that I get requested about advice, about help. So this is a quick video just to give you a brief overview of what nursing looks like here in South Florida, what are some options, and what is the minimum. If you need a more specific, detailed plan or more help, send us an email, right? Advising the way. What we do is we provide free, right? We are a nonprofit that helps local college students get the help and assistance they need, right? Now, if you are enrolled in a local university or college, please reach out to your school. They're the best resource. But I made this video just to kind of give you a brief overview of what you can expect of this whole program. So, in South Florida, right, to be a nurse, the minimum requirements is you need to have an associate's degree in nursing or an ASN. So you know there's ASN, there's ADN. So you'd complete that degree. And normally the way it works is you complete that degree at a college. So for example, we're here in South Florida. Your two big college options would be Miami-Dade College and Broward College, right? If you live in Miami-Dade, Broward College. But again, you can go to either one. It really depends on you. Which one's better, which one's easier. Those are all subjective questions. If you were to ask students in both programs, you'd hear both the good and the bad. You would hear rumors, right? It depends, right? So for example, I've talked to students at both programs and I've heard, again, from students, purely anecdotal, that the Miami-Dade College program is harder to get into, while Broward College might be easier to get into, but once you're in there, the program is much more difficult. It's at a faster pace. Again, easy, hard. This depends on the student, right? There's no one can really tell you this, right? So once you've completed the college, you get the ASN or the ADN, you then will then be able to apply and sit to get your nursing's license. Once you have your nursing license, the way it works is you got to take the NCLEX examination. Your school, whatever you're attending, they normally will do is they'll give you practice tests to make sure that you're passing the NCLEX, the practice version. They don't want you to sit for that test because honestly, if you sit for the test and you don't pass, not only are you wasting your time, but you also kind of make the school look bad because schools have to report how many of their students are passing the NCLEX exam. So, for example, when I used to teach at Miami-Dade College, it was not uncommon for me to have nursing students in my classes who were finishing the nursing program, but weren't passing the practice NCLEX. I remember one girl one semester was some professor, I need to miss your class this week because I'm doing a boot camp for the NCLEX. So the schools will prepare you, they will help you. Like they want you to pass this test. So, don't freak out. If you get into nursing school and you pass nursing school, there's a good chance you're gonna pass the test, right? Not guaranteed, but it's a good chance. And then obviously, before you start working in any kind of hospital, they'll do a background check, drug test usually. So keep that in mind. If you have any background questions, usually when you apply to nursing programs, they'll ask you about your background situations because what they don't want is that you have a background issue, which they know is a disqualifier, and let you into the program. So they'll definitely check that out for you. Now, something has to happen while you're in the nursing program that changes. Please talk to your advisor. Remember, these advisors are there to help you guys. So if you don't use them, you don't know. Now, is this the only option? No, right? The associate's degree in nursing is for students that are attending a college, like Miami-Dade College or Broward College. You also have the option, let's say you're watching this video and you're a student at FIU, UF, FSU, wherever you're at. Universities have what's called a BSN, right? Which is a Bachelor's of Science in Nursing. So you also have that option as well. I'm going to show you guys these programs little by little, but again, this is meant to be a general video, not specific. If you want specifics, let us know. send us an email, put a message, put a comment below. You know, and we'll help you out. All right. So applying to nursing school, this is what you need to know, right? So if you are starting in college, you've taken no classes, perfect. If you've taken some classes and now you're switching over to nursing, that's fine as well. For the majority of nursing programs, right? And for this video, I'm going to focus primarily on Miami-Dade College and Broward College. I'm not saying those are the best programs in Florida. However, when I am talking to students, especially here in South Florida, a lot of students who are looking into nursing is because they're looking for a way to improve their lives. They maybe don't have enough money, enough resources. Maybe they're paying for college themselves. So I try to offer students the most cost efficient programs, right? Miami-Dade College and Broward College are not the only programs. Like, I'll give you an example, right? If we come here to this website, this is a state of Florida Department of Health website where you can see how many programs there are. So I'm gonna just come back here, click on back, all right? And if we just look for nursing education RN programs, and we just start with Miami-Dade County, right? Notice there are 49 programs in Miami-Dade County, right? You kind of see all different schools that are here available. Which one's the best school? Which one is, again, highly subjective. What you can use the metric is you can go to each school if you want to. You can see what their passing rates are for the NCLEX, what their graduation rates are students finding jobs after. You can also see here, these are either the status, approved, accredited, right? At the end of the day, I'm making this video based on cost. I'm simply looking at cost. So our most affordable options, right? The cheapest programs, at least here, would be the public colleges like Miami-Dade College and Broward College. Now, be aware, because these programs are public and they're affordable, what does that mean? That means that a lot of students want to go there. So competition is really high. So keep that in mind when you're taking these classes here, right? When you're taking anatomy and physiology 1, and you're taking the rest of these courses, your goal should be straight A's, like A's. I mean, if you get a B's, great, but A's, my friends, right? Because what they do is the schools you're applying to will take your GPA in these classes and they'll use that as part of the formula they use to let you into the program. So you want these classes to be as high as possible. Now, you also want to explore different programs because the programs do have different rules. So for example, I'm going to jump really quick over here to the Miami-Dade College program. Let me move this bar here, guys. It's blocking my way. If we come here to the Miami-Dade College program, notice here's how they counter admissions, right? So at Miami-Dade College, and again, I'm only using Miami-Dade College because a lot of you folks that are watching this video are probably considering Miami-Dade College or Broward College. But again, these are not the only schools. There are other options. So first, you have to know by when you have to start applying. So I recommend if you're at Miami-Dade College, your first thing should be is go to the medical campus, right? The medical campus and schedule a time with the advisor. Notice, here's the email for them, madvisement@mdc.edu. Give them a call, book an appointment. Why? I'm not saying that advisors at other campuses can't help you, right? But you want to talk to the advisors at the medical campus. That's their job, right? So talk to them. They can definitely customize this plan for you and your needs. But notice this program has different options. They have generic full-time, which that is a program primarily for students who are coming right out of high school, or maybe students who this is their first time in college. Like you don't have a degree or something else. This is your regular full-time program, right? You also have generic part-time. Notice full-time is 4 semesters long, fall, spring, so roughly 2 years. Generic part-time, though, it's 7 semesters. Why? Because you're taking part-time classes. Full-time versus part-time, this question really comes to you. So, for example, some students maybe just can't afford to go to school full-time. They have to work. And doing a full-time nursing program and working a full-time job, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's really, really, really difficult. And you don't want to just pass nursing school because if you later on want to go to some kind of master's program to become a nurse practitioner, to become a CRNA, right? Anything you want to do advance, they're gonna look at your GPA in your nursing classes. So like you don't want to like just pass like, oh, C's get degrees, 2.0. No, you want to try to do as best as you can. So if you know you have to work because you just can't afford to be in school full time and not work, maybe the part time option is your best option. Now, part time, if you're thinking part time, Miami-Dade College is probably your only choice, at least compared to Broward College, because at the moment, Broward College is not offering a part time program. And I'll show you guys on their website a little bit later. This option here, the accelerated option, this is for people who have a bachelor's degree already. So, for example, let's say like I have a degree in sociology. If I wanted to go back to nursing school right now, that'd be an option I could consider, right? Now, what I was telling you about this class earlier in the requirements is right down here. So notice on number 4, and I'll zoom in, make that a little bigger for you guys, right? So you can see what I'm talking about. On number 4 right here, no more than 2 total grades of a D, an F, or a W in natural science courses. So, like, what are your natural science courses? It's those classes I was just showing you. It's your anatomy, physiology 1, anatomy 2, right? Your chemistry, your microbiology. So, those classes, you don't want to sign up. You don't want to like sign up and get a D, an F, or a W because it will count against you, right? Um, so again, it's tough. It's tough, guys. I mean, it's super, super, super competitive. So this is why these programs are hard to get into and why they have so many requirements because they have a long list of students who are applying to this program. Now, besides that, let's jump back over here, right? So if you complete these courses, the common nursing prerequisites, you're gonna be okay applying to either Miami-Dade College or Broward College, right? Because it's the same requirements. Now, when it comes down here for general education requirements, this is just the basic classes that you would take while you're starting your college degree. So, for example, if you already have a college degree and you're going back to nursing, well, then obviously you probably took already ENC 1101. You probably took your math courses. If you graduated before 2022, you've probably already met this civics literacy requirement, or back when you were in school, it wasn't a requirement. But if you are new in college, or you're coming back to college, or you didn't finish a degree, you want to make sure you've taken your ENC 1101, right, which is your basic English writing course. Florida has a requirement now, Florida Civics Literacy Exam. So you want to make sure you take care of this as soon as possible. And how do you take care of this? You have to first take either American history course or a federal government course. Once you pass either one, you then sit for a test for the FCLE. And whatever school you're at, it's Miami-Dade College, Broward College, these schools have boot camps now. If you go on YouTube, there's videos. I mean, I'm gonna make one for you guys just because people have asked me for it. But again, it's totally up to you. For math, you also have to take a math course, MAC 1105. Now, I put here MAT 1033 because depending on your math scores, like when you apply to Miami-Dade College as a regular college student, you're gonna either submit your SATs, ACTs, or you'll take a test at Miami-Dade College to see where you're at with your reading and writing levels. If you score a little bit lower on your math, you might need the MAT 1033 course. So if you need it, it's not a big deal, right? You just take the course. And if you notice up here, like there's kind of an order. So for anatomy, so your first science class you would take would probably be anatomy and physiology one. Because notice there's no like prerequisites for it. The only requirement is that if you take the lecture, you also take the lab along with it. You also have to, you take your first semester, you would take chemistry for health sciences. Now notice a prerequisite is MAT 1033. So if you didn't meet the requirement through testing, this is why I told you down here, you might have to take the class. So again, just depends on you and your test scores, right? You also have to complete a CGS 1060, and you also have to complete a humanities philosophy course. Notice for this philosophy course, the prerequisite is ENC 1101, which means that before you can take this PHI course, you first have to complete your ENC 1101. So once you have these classes complete, right, you can now, your advisor will be telling you, all right, you're at this level, you're ready to go, you can apply. And if you're going to Miami-Dade College, right, I'm going to jump back here, Miami-Dade College. Miami-Dade College, they tell you specifically, right? They have a process in place. Let me go back here. Let me just zoom down a little bit. Right? They have a process here in place. So notice, they tell you right here, nursing options, competitive. It's tough to get into. Minimum cumulative GPA, meaning all your classes, 2.5. For science, minimum 2.0. I'll be honest. While it is a minimum 2.0, you're not going to get in with 2.0. I mean, maybe, I don't know. But I talked to a lot of students, talked to advisors, and usually 3.5 is what they want. Um, I have seen students come in like a under 3.5, but above 3.0 in that gap, it's possible. Just depends on on their T scores, which I haven't showed you yet. I'll show you guys that next. They probably scored higher on that. So, or maybe that admission cycle, like the GPA is a little bit lower. So again, there's a lot of different things. But realistically, guys, I would tell you, shoot for that 3.5 in those science courses. The higher it is, the more competitive you'll be and the easier it'll be for you to get into the program. Now, notice here at Miami-Dade College, they're also asking you to complete this Intro to Healthcare class. This class gets filled up pretty quickly. So, this is why I tell you guys, talk to your advisor because they can tell you by when to be taking these specific classes. They can map you out a program that will work for you on a customized basis. The next thing they're looking for is what I mentioned earlier is the TEAS exam. Now, what this test is, right? It's a basic understanding of what you've learned so far. So they're kind of testing you on your math, your science, your reading, right? And notice they're looking for a 60% or greater on a test. So, yes, while 60 is the minimum, the higher you score, the better chances you have. Now, here's one difference that I always point out to students when I tell them. If you're applying to both Miami-Dade College and Broward College, notice for Miami-Dade College it says the ATI TEAS exam must be taken with a Miami-Dade College testing and assessment department, which means that you got to take a test at Miami-Dade College, right? But if you're applying for Broward College, right? Here's the Broward College page. It says, can I take a program admission test elsewhere and transfer scores to Broward College? Yes. A BC program applicant may take a program admission test elsewhere. So, if I was you, and I know I'm applying to both Miami-Dade College and Broward College, well, then what I'll do is I'll take my TEAS exam at Miami-Dade College because for them, that's a hard requirement. And then once I get my passing scores, I can use it at MDC and I can then send that same score to Broward College because Broward College, they're not requiring you to take the test at their campus. they're okay with you transferring it over, right? Or if you're applying to other schools, right? Always check with that school to see like who has a stricter requirement. And then what I would do is see, like lay out both programs and see who has a stricter requirement. And then whoever does have stricter requirement, follow their program because they're being the strictest. And then everyone else will just probably follow in similar. And again, most schools in Florida follow similar things, but each school might have these little tiny differences. For example, in this case, for the tests, Miami-Dade wants it at their campus. So again, it's not a big deal. It's still the same test that you're taking, but they want it there. So this is for Miami-Dade College. I'm just using this as a reference, guys. I'm not saying to go to Miami-Dade College, pick whichever program you want to, but here is a breakdown. And I'm going to put all these links for you guys in the comments chat below so you guys can have it. But notice these are the classes, right? And then once you've completed these prerequisite requirements, you come down here and now you're seeing how your nursing classes will look like. Now, for the nursing classes, remember, it's not a matter of is it hard, is it easy? It really depends on you. Nursing is a difficult program. You're going to have to study, right? So you're taking every semester 12 credits, right? So notice your first semester, this is your first semester right here. You're taking fundamentals of nursing with a skills lab, clinical lab, adult nursing assessment, and you're taking nursing math and pharmacology. These are hard classes, guys. You're going to have to put the time in to study. So I would say on average, you're probably going to spend about 3 hours per class per week studying. Maybe a little more, maybe a little bit less. Depends on you and how good you are, what your background is. If you've been out of school for a long time, maybe you just forgot how to study. It happens. Maybe you're fresh out of high school. You just never studied in high school. I've seen it happen. You have to kind of figure out like where you are and what's working for you. So here's your second semester in nursing, right? How it breaks down. And notice here on the side telling you, what your prereqs and co-reqs are. So notice like this flows, right? And this is for Miami-Dade College. It might be a little bit different at Broward College or wherever you're planning on going, but I'm giving you the Miami-Dade College reference because, again, most of my students are from Miami-Dade College. Now, notice, here we go. We're in the third semester now, right? Now, people ask me all the time, can I finish faster by taking summer, right? So normally, right, in the nursing program, you don't really pick your schedule, right? The way it works is once you get admitted into a nursing program, you'll have an advisor who you're assigned to. That advisor puts you with other students that came in together into a cohort group, and you guys tend to take all your classes together, right? Your advisor kind of picks your schedule. I mean, you can maybe you can tell them, hey, listen, maybe you have kids at home and hey, I can't come this time because of my kids. And I'm sure they'll work with you, but normally you don't really pick your classes. The advisors pick your schedules, make sure you all stay together. So notice your third semester, it says offered fall and spring. So these classes, you really couldn't take them in the summer because they're not being offered. So this is why I said 2 years for graduation for nursing, because you're really talking about fall, spring, fall, spring, right? There's no summer in between, right? I mean, there is a summer, but there's no classes available. So you get to your fourth semester, which is more likely your last semester, and at that point you're done. So notice here it tells you by the end of this program, you've achieved 72 credits, right? Not 60, right? So normally your AA degree would be 60 college credits. But for nursing, you end up with 72 because you actually have a degree. Like you're done at this point. Like nursing is one of the few jobs that once you get your AS degree from Miami-Dade College, you're then able to sit for your NCLEX examination, right? Once you pass the NCLEX examination, you can then get a job. Like that's it. You can start working as a nurse, right? You don't, I mean, yes. Hospitals prefer that you have your bachelor's degree in nursing, but it's not, a requirement for jobs. And I'll give you an example, right? This right here is a very popular option that I recommend if you can get into it, because as you'll hear from some nursing students, finding your first job in nursing can be hard. You start looking for nursing jobs, and a lot of jobs want you to have at least 1 or 2 years experience. But then the question becomes, well, if I just graduated, how can I get that 1 or 2 years experience? So these nurse residency programs are a great option. Now, this is through Broward Health. There's the same programs in Miami. If you just Google nurse residency programs, you'll have from like Baptist, you'll have different options. I'm only showing this one as just an example, right? Doesn't mean that this is the one you have to apply to. So what the way this works is you apply to these programs. And once you get into the program, think of it almost like an internship or a training. I mean, you do get paid, but you kind of rotate throughout the hospital to kind of see like what is the best fit for you. So notice the program curriculum. You have orientation, you have simulations, clinical lectures, debrief discussions, right? Professional growth, career coaching. But here's what I want to show you. To apply to these programs, notice ASN or BSN. So notice associate degree of nursing. If you graduate from Miami-Dade College or Broward College, boom, you met the requirements, right? If you went to FIU, UM for your first, whatever you did, you have BSN, you can also apply. So in this program, let's say I have an ASN and you have a BSN, we can both apply to a program, be in the program together, right? So as long as you have an ASN or BSN, you have your license, right? You have less than 1 year. So obviously, if you're a new grad nurse, you just graduated, you definitely have this. Your heart association life support, you can just the school will give you programs you can go to and get that endorsement into the license. And in this case, for Broward Health, they're asking for a 2 year commitment, meaning like, hey, listen, we're gonna give you a chance, we're gonna train you up, but the catch is you're gonna work for us for 2 years. So again, I don't see as a bad option. If you're gonna live here in South Florida, you're not thinking about leaving anytime soon, this would be a great program for you to come in, come into the hospital, learn how things are, experience the program, experience different areas of the hospital, and then from there, work for 2 years. And in 2 years, I mean, 2 years flies at that, guys. You can then leave wherever you want to, right? Or you can stay if you want. So they explain to you the application process, how it works. They explain to you the nursing program commitment. Now, notice if you do leave within those 2 years, all you got to pay them, at least in this program, is $5,000 back, which I mean, why pay that? Just stay for your 2 years. It'll fly on by. And they also have different stuff here, like, projects, online courses, classes, and all that different stuff. And they tell you when these programs start. So notice for 2026, look at that. Almost every month they have a program, which means that if you graduate any of these terms, like you have multiple options to apply to, right? So then at the bottom here, now here's what I want to show you. Is a BSN degree required, right? ASN and BSN graduates are all eligible for the program. Now, notice it is expected that ASN graduates, whoa, sorry guys, I clicked it, will be committed to completing their BSN within 5 years. So, good news is if you go to Miami-Dade College or Broward College and you do your ASN, at those same schools, they usually have what's called an online RN to BSN. And I'll show you what that looks like, right? So let's say that we're here, right? We're on the Miami-Dade nursing program for the ASN. We click on bachelor's degrees. We come here to bachelor's degrees. Notice right here. So Miami-Dade College offers 15 college bachelor's degrees, with the first one being the RN to BSN. So the way it works is, right? The program is completed in 3 years. 3 semesters. Sorry, not 3 years, guys. And you have two tracks, part-time or full-time. Most of you will probably, if you're already working in a hospital, you'll probably do part-time because, your first year of being a nurse is tough. 2 years is tough. So you can always start here and you knock this out. And by the time you're done, right, you already have your BSN degree, which meets requirements for most of these hospitals. Now, once you have the BSN, you then have these different options if you want to down the line get a more advanced degree. So again, Miami-Dade College offers it. We saw here Broward College, right? Here's their requirements again to their program. And again, I'm going to share all these links. So here's what I mentioned. Broward College at the moment, they only have a full-time option. They don't have a part-time option right now. Similar time frame, 5 semesters in length, right? The requirements are pretty much the same classes you're taking, right? So the same anatomy and physiology, the same microbiology, the same mathematics, right? Same classes you need. The exam score, so they're asking for a 69 or higher, and they tell you in each section what scores minimum they're looking for. So for example, reading 62, right? So you have the requirements here. But remember, you don't have to take it at their school, but for Miami-Dade College, you do have to take it at their school, right? For passing the TEAS, right? And then here tells you right here, what are the admissions, right? Like how are they going to let you into the program, right? So usually it's similar. If you notice, overall GPA, your science and math GPA, and your TEAS scores. Each one is weighted at 33.333%, right? And they rank you, put you on a list. If you are a veteran, right, you have here make sure you put that on there. If you're not, don't worry about it, right? And they break down the entire process for you. So again, guys, I'm showing you Miami-Dade College, Broward College. Doesn't mean you have to pick one of those two. Notice, in Miami-Dade alone, you have 49 different program options. If you come and you search Broward County, right? You also have a big amount. You have 47. So you have 47 nursing program options for your RN degree in Broward County, and you have 49 options in Miami. So you definitely have a lot of options. I only chose Miami-Dade College and Broward College because there are local public state colleges and they offer the programs at lower cost. But because they're lower cost, remember, they're way more competitive. So like for example, I've had plenty of students over the years applied to Miami-Dade College, Broward College, didn't get in because, whatever the case is, ended up going to Barry University, ended up going to St. Thomas, Nova, right? These are all private universities that are down in South Florida, and they got into that program. They did good in the programs. They passed their license exams and their nurses. Now, what was the main difference? That a lot of them had to pay a lot more to go to a St. Thomas or a Barry or Nova compared to Miami-Dade or Broward. However, there's scholarships, there's financial aid. So, I mean, there's always ways to pay for it. But on average, I mean, yes, you're going to be paying more. So for example, when you look at the price breakdown, let me just show you guys this really quick. Um, oh no, wait, right here. When you guys break the prices down, so I'll show you Miami-Dade really quickly, right? Miami-Dade is telling us overview. So Miami-Dade College, when they break the cost down, they're saying it's about $8,500 in cost, right? Now, in that cost, they're pretty much only factoring like tuition. They're not factoring all the other fees that you might pay, for example, like books and labs and all the different stuff. Like you're just not showing up there. But Broward College, they do break it down. Let's come up here. I had it here, guys. I'm sorry. So, this page? No, it's right here. So overview. So here's the overview. Again, I'll put all these links for you guys there. Mm, generic. Well, I'll put the price for you guys there, but it was roughly $14,000 that Broward College was saying, and they were showing that price because they include all the fees. I mean, they do a pretty thorough breakdown of everything that they need. So again, is it a little more expensive? I mean, maybe when you were to compare all the costs for Miami-Dade College versus Broward College, it might be similar. Let's see, nursing programs FAQ, health sciences. And again, guys, you guys can do everything that I'm doing here by kind of clicking through and seeing what they're asking you for. I have no special magic like no one does. Everything here is online and it's available to you. So right here, here's a question about offer part-time nursing. For right now, it's on hold, so it's not. For online, right? Does not offer online program. We already know the requirements. We were looking here for the price. And then depending where you live too, I mean, notice nursing program here, they have different campuses. They have North in Coconut Creek, they have Central Campus, they have South Campus. So again, it really depends on you. And then this question also comes up like, can I work on the program? Again, oh, here's the cost. So here you go. Notice Broward College, they do in-state versus out-of-state fees. They break it down for you. I mean, they put everything on here. They put all the fees, like even like your entrance exams, they put everything on here, right? And their breakdown, when they factor in every single expense you're gonna have, they're saying it's $14,000 compared to 8,000 that Miami-Dade College is saying. But maybe when you factor in all the fees, the way that these folks did, you might end up with similar. While at other schools, private schools, you might end up paying a lot more. So again, it's really up to you, right? There's no right or wrong. And then the last thing I'll mention is if you already have a bachelor's degree in something else, psychology, sociology, math, I don't know, whatever you have, and you want to become a nurse now, here's an option. I'm just showing you the FAU program option, but again, like FIU has it, Miami-Dade, everyone has an option. And in this case, it's where you complete, this is intense, where you can get your accelerated BSN in a much faster time. So again, guys, here's where I was mentioning about the cost of programs. This program breaks down like the cost from online RN to BSNs. And here's where you can see, Miami-Dade College is considered one of the top 10 affordable programs. And they break down the in-state price for you. But, if you don't have to only go there. You also have different options here, Northwest Florida, right? Santa Fe College in Gainesville. So again, it's really up to you guys. There is no right or wrong answer. And I make these videos simply to serve as a guide to get you going along in the process. If you need more detailed help, if you have more questions, I recommend always go to the school that you want to apply to and talk to their advisor. That's their job. They get paid to help you, right? Now, if you're confused, if you need help, if you're not sure what you're doing here, and you want to come and talk to our program, Advising the Way, as I mentioned earlier, we are a nonprofit. We don't charge you anything. We can meet with you via Zoom. We can meet with you in person. We can discuss what your plans are, what you're looking at career-wise, where you currently are, right? And how are you going to get to where you want to be? So normally we start with the end goal in mind, becoming a nurse, and we work our way backwards. We look at where you're lacking in skills, like what skills you're missing that we can help you with. We look at your financial literacy, like how are you surviving, living, all stuff. So our main job is to help you become the best version of yourself so you can achieve the goals that you want to achieve. So our email is down below. You can message us, you can via Instagram, you can send us text, calls, whatever you guys want. We're here to help. If you found this video helpful, guys, just you know the routine. Go ahead and give us a like, subscribe, share with your friends, and if you have any questions, guys, please reach out. Take it easy, guys.